Right. What's up, guys? Dominique here. I have Tara, just say PYB, today to do a testimonial interview for me. So thank you, Tara, for doing this for me. I really appreciate it. So Tara, tell us a little about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Why should people be interested in listening to you?
Interested. Yeah. So my name is Tara. I have a website. It's called the PYB Imprint. Before I did boxing for other magazines, I, was a boxing journalist. However, I've kind of slid into my own thing now. So you can find that on the PYB Imprint, or you can follow me on Just Say PYB and follow along that journey that I'm going to be transitioning in from just doing boxing to other things as well too.
By the way, MMA is way better than boxing.
How did I know you're going to bring that up?
I don't know. It just was on my mind. I was like, so we've had this argument back and forth, like what's better, boxing or MMA, boxing or MMA. I don't even know what was the last good boxing match that was on? I don't even know.
I feel like the only people that actually argue what's better, boxing or MMA, are MMA fans. Boxing, we already know. We don't have to sit there and argue about it.
But it is though. No, the reason I tell you that, maybe at some point, maybe you'll like do both, right? You could do boxing and MMA or something like that. I don't know. It seems like boxing is kind of like, wah, wah, wah.
What? So anyways, okay.
What's that?
I'll let you have that one. Okay.
So anyways, no, but again, I appreciate you being on the call. So we first worked together like almost a year ago. I want to say it was like maybe November, December last year. Now we're in September. So tell me a little bit about before we had worked together, when you first like came across my page or whatever, what were your thoughts on what it is that I do? And what was your preconceived and your preconceived notions about hypnotism and doing like mental coaching and stuff like that?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, prior to that, I kind of just watched and paid attention to what you were doing, but I never really fully bought into it, only because anyway, it's really hard to believe that someone can help you in that way or in just specific ways that you need help for, so it wasn't until I was paying more attention to what you were doing and kind of did my research behind it, was I like, okay, let me give this guy a shot. Let me at least see what he can do. And the first session that you did with me, I think we worked on, was it anger that we worked on?
Well, all the negative emotions, right?
Yeah, negative emotions generally at first, and that's kind of like the first thing that I needed help with in order to break through. But that first session I was like, okay, this guy knows exactly.
It was already worth it, right?
Yeah. Well, just from like that first thing, I was like, holy cow. I went on the next day, even that minute after we got off, I was like, why do I feel different? Like, this is weird. I went downstairs and told my roommates, I was like, okay, I know I sound crazy, but like, and I know what they're thinking, that I sound crazy, but this actually works. And then, I never really, the one thing that stuck out to me is you told me that, it's not like you're never not going to be angry anymore. You're going to feel that anger, but you're going to get past it or be able to move past it. And it's been true ever since. And it's been a year since we worked on that. So
yeah.
That was just one of them.
What was it like before? Like how would that bother you?
Always just an angry person. Like, if you can walk by somebody and you like look at them, you're like, why is that person so angry? Why are they so mad? Like that was.
Yeah, you kind of get that vibe, right?
Yeah, and that was me. Like I was always so angry or like agitated or, everything bothered me. But now I'm just like, hey.
Whatever, right?
Yeah. So
that's good.
That helped me.
So did you know that Mike Tyson used to get hypnotized by Customato back when he was coming up and training everything? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I probably should.
Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, okay. No. I thought for some reason, yeah. So he's talked about it on Rogan, he's talked about it on Howard Stern, and he's talked about it multiple times. But yeah, so when he was like 12, 13 years old, Cuss would do hypnosis with them like multiple times a week. Okay. And as he progressed, he just kept doing it over and over and over. And yeah, Tyson talks about it on Joe Rogan. It's pretty interesting. If you just look up Mike Tyson hypnosis or something, it'll pull it up. Really, really insightful. But yeah, it's super, super, super powerful stuff.
Interesting that you bring that up because like, look what's about to happen. Tyson versus Roy Jones.
I wonder if he's getting hypnotized for this fight. No, I'm super stoked for that one. I think everybody's gonna watch that. I wonder.
All of a sudden.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like watching boxing, but only when it's like the epic fights. When it's just like I could watch MMA every weekend, even if it's not the best cards, because there's always some sick knockouts, just cool stuff that happens. I feel like boxing is kind of like, it's more style, or it's more like point based. There's not a lot of knockouts, probably because we're using bigger gloves. I mean, maybe there is. I don't really pay that much attention, but I just feel like every time I watch a big fight, I'm always like, oh, this is so boring, It's like, so anyways, but the Tyson Fury and Wilder fight, that was an epic fight. Both of their fights were really good, so that was good. And then we got Conor and Pacquiao. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's gonna, if it happens, it would be more, it's boxing. It would be more for like the money, and then also for Conor to get his name back out there again. But I just feel like Pacquiao would, he would demolish him. And Pacquiao would probably just have fun, have fun with the fight. And then he would also, sit there and pray for him at the end of it, because that's just how spiritual Pacquiao is.
Right. I honestly think, even though McGregor did better than like almost everybody Mayweather has fought in his entire career. I mean, there was analysts saying like he wasn't going to get off one shot, but I will say this: I think Mayweather purposely like was taking it easy on him in the beginning, just to give the fans something to watch.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine if he just went out there in the first round and just knocked him out. Everybody would have been like, "Oh, this is fucking bullshit." Like I just spent $100.
Yeah.
But I think there was a little bit. I think McGregor did catch him off guard a couple times, but I really do believe that Mayweather was just kind of playing with him, letting him get his rounds in, make it an interesting fight, so that maybe they could set up a second fight, or just to give the fans, their money worth. But
yeah,
we'll never know the truth. I still think it was an early stoppage, but hey, what do I know? So I remember when we first met, or when we first, we never actually have met in person, but when we first started talking, you were working like, I think a couple jobs or something like that. You were kind of having some struggles. So tell me about where you're at before we started, and kind of how your life has changed since then.
Right. So one of the things that we did work on was finances, I believe.
Yeah. Money values.
Right. So essentially what I was doing is I was burning myself on both ends, and my thing is I enjoy working, so I don't mind working by burning myself from both ends. But it was like, was it even pushing me towards my goals? And it wasn't. So it was basically just being like a space to do things and not really accomplish anything. So after it was more of like money matters and financials. I kind of switched things. It's weird because I didn't come to you until a month later, and I said, oh my gosh, I quit this job, I ended up getting this job and this job. I invested in stocks. Like it just
magically happened, right?
It's always something I've always wanted to do, but then I just started, it was more of like the momentum towards it versus going away. But
exactly. So for I'm just going to say this, and if you get it, and I'll edit it out. But when I first started working with Tara, you were working at like a mechanic shop or something. Like I remember, believe it or not, whoever's watching this, you see this good looking girl. She would come home and have freaking like, I remember one time you had like
black, just dirt, all
stuff, and I was like, what is going on here? But no, that just shows like that how I think personally, that just shows like how down to earth you are, and you're just like, you're the type of person who will just be like, oh, you want to go hiking? Oh, you want to go do this? So, and you're not all like, oh, just because I'm a good looking person, I'm like all, pretentious, and I don't want to, have fun. And like, you're a boxer, you've been boxing for years. So I think that's super cool. But no, it's funny because you went from that, and then now you work at a law firm or something, or
yeah. So I've always been into like legal and like law in that area. I just kind of stepped away from it, and then I was wanting to like see other things. But right now I work for an employment law firm out here in Temecula, California. So that's more so the drive and like where I'm headed towards. So I'm working on that. But then I also am working on my side, the PYB imprint.
Do the boxing and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm always going to be, that's always going to be a part of my life as well too. But I mean, it just, like my life is so much, it's calmer now. The money's different. Like I'm investing in different ways as well too. But before it was just pure chaos. It was.
So like, really quick, I remember, when we talk about values, so some certain values is basically like what's important to you about a specific part of your life, right? Your money. Right. And if you remember, it was all about like, what I don't want this. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be this. Right. It was all the negative away from us. And when we focus on that, that's what we end up getting, right? So once we got rid of all the stuff you're holding on to without you even thinking about it,
Right.
you know, you quit your job, you start another one, and then it's like, it just becomes part of who you are, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no, I'm stoked for you. So cool. Before we go, what was your favorite part about everything that we've done or everything that we did at that time? And who are the type of people that you would recommend to do something like this?
Recommend meaning like now, like who?
No. Who like what, if there's a person out there, what, and you could speak to that person, like, hey, if you're in this situation or whatever, who would you tell to like seek out and get help?
Honestly, I know this sounds like a very broad, but I feel like everybody could essentially use it. It just depends, because I mean, we're not all the same, you know. So
Right.
it comes down to like athletes, even just your modern day, you know, stay-at-home mom or whatever, you know.
Anybody, right?
Everybody could be using this, you know. It just depends on themselves. Do they actually want to get the help? Like,
yeah, no.
It's not really even help. And that's the thing, like I was telling people about like the timeline therapy that you do. Most people don't sit down and go back. Okay, let me go back and like clear this, clear that, clear this. So we're just moving this way, you know. Anybody can
Right.
help. But for me, like I said, I've even told you what, not even too long ago, that I wanted to do another session like right away. It's like, you're like,
right.
I don't know if you can afford me now, but I mean,
yeah, I know, right?
But that's, yeah. So
no, that's awesome. And I couldn't agree more. I feel like every person in the entire world could benefit from this, because when you go back and you get rid of limiting beliefs, not good enough, you know, limiting beliefs around money, relationships, all that kind of stuff, it just frees you up to this whole different world. And it's like your life can change from being just going down this terrible, dark, you know, shitty path to just starting to build on something that, you know, can provide you with happiness long term. So it's good. So any last thing you want to throw out there, again, where people can follow you, anything else before we close here?
No, I mean, for me, I always just tell people like, hey, do your research, and it doesn't hurt to just try it. So at least just get one session in and try it and see how you feel afterwards. And that's essentially it. But you can follow me on Just Say PYB, and then I'll have my website up fairly soon.
So JUSTSAYPYB, right?
Me is PYB, and then Just Say, and then PYB. So yeah.
What does PYB stand for?
I can't tell you.
Oh, really? It's one of those things, huh?
Secret, but I always tell
what
people, if you know Michael Jackson, you could figure it out.
I'll have to go down a rabbit hole and figure out what that is. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tara, for doing this today. And, you know, we'll be talking soon.
All right. Thank you.